We have started to record the most recent session of MM2003, Reporting and Writing for the Mass Media for the fall semester. It is Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. This is our final regularly scheduled class period before fall break. We will pick things up 1 week from today during the month of October. As I indicated to you during a recent class session, we've got 4 full weeks of classes during the month of October, 8 course sessions, which means that we are going to be well on our way to the 20 completed assignments before we turn the calendar to the 1st of November. What I want all of you to do between now and next week is to make sure that you are all caught up with the first 5 assignments. Doing a couple of things. First of all, making sure that your blog, whenever someone clicks on your name, has an attractive professional look to it. MM/2003 and your name. MM2003 space or a slash and your name. And then within that, whatever the format for your assignments are, thinking about the 5 W's, who, what, where, why, when, for the lead sentences of paragraphs, making sure that it is an immersive, interactive experience within the context of what I've explained for all of the projects. Once you have done that, we're going to be doing research today for assignment 6, which is campus crime. That is going to be due Tuesday of next week. The next project, Campus Hard or Feature News, is going to be due on Thursday of next week. We don't have a lot of time to waste, so on many of those 8 class sessions during the month of October, there will be a project due. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the assignment listing. This is going to be from Google Drive, but it's also available at the website. What I was doing before class, as those of you who are here are aware of, I was looking at previous projects that you're going to be examining later on from 2018, 2019, and 2020 for campus crime. Here's the listing of assignments. Assignment 6, campus crime, either at the local, state, national, or international level, written as a story, is going to be due on Tuesday of next week after the break. Please make certain that you give me a link to the original story that you have edited. 1 week from Thursday, assignment 7, campus hard or feature news, again, local, state, national, or international, is going to be completed. At that time, we're going to get into public records, both at the local and state level. More than likely, I'll take a class period to do a deep dive into public records, and then 8 and 9 will be due in successive class periods. Listening posts, civics, numeracy, international hard or feature news. We'll probably get to assignment 12 minimum by the end of October. And then, as you can see with the rest of the projects, more than likely, before we leave for Thanksgiving break, we will be near the end of that list. The wild card can be anything that you choose. A friendly reminder, here are all of the names of individuals in this class, other than one, with blogs. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to be looking at the progress that everyone has made on their blogs. Before we get to that, however, always keep in mind that you can join us live for class or watch videos from Blackboard, or you can take a look at them from the website. Let me show you, after we downloaded last week's course onto my website, what it looks like. Videos A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, and I do it alphabetically so they will line up exactly that way. Sometimes you'll see my face, sometimes you'll see a screenshot. This is just automatically uploaded by Google. I have no control over this. And of course, if you upload something to YouTube, you do have a choice on what your visuals look like. All of this data is available for you to watch at your leisure, and I strongly encourage you to do so. In addition to this, I want to show you Blackboard. It's in the professor's mode. I feel it's important that all of you have access to as much information as possible for research. Whenever I enter the course, and you can see it's somewhat of a transparency effect, reporting writing for the mass media course room on top, that's how I join the class. And for the most part, that is how the courses are being recorded. So that is what you see here on top. I join the class live on top, even though you could do it on the bottom. That's why whenever you see the listing of recordings, the wordings aren't exactly the same. If I join from the bottom, the wording is different. Everything is here for those of you who are watching videos on Blackboard to examine. And of course, if you ever have a problem with my website, the syllabus and all of the assignments are right here. So there's really no excuse for anyone not to have access to information. And at Ultra, with the clear icon, everything is available for you to access, whether it's joining the class on top. Again, as you can see right there, or watching the videos, trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. But let's do some research on a preliminary basis for assignment 6, campus crime. There are a couple of you who have completed the assignment, which is nice. You may want to go back and edit between Tuesday of next week. But why do I think campus crime is an important part of this course? Whenever we're examining any type of campus crime statistics, it really is because of something called the Jean Clary Act. Well, who was Jean Clary? And why is it important for campus crime to be reported and made available to students, to friends, to parents? It wasn't always that way. When I first came to Southern Arkansas University, it was very challenging for the editor of the campus newspaper at the time to try to get campus crime statistics from the administration. Now it has become federal legislation, and at the end of September, every college and institution of higher education in the United States, every college and university has to submit campus crime statistics. But who is Jean Clary? Why is her memory honored in such a way? You can just do a basic search. Those are videos explaining the Clary Act, which ties into campus crime. But if you wanted to know who Jean Clary was, all you have to do is to look at this. It's a federal law that requires institutions of higher education, colleges and universities, as I just mentioned, in the United States to disclose campus security information. Some of it will come out through news reports. Most of this will be available on institutional websites where you can get your information or in the news feed. What would be reported under the Clary Act? Campus crime data, support victims of violence, and publicly outline the policies and procedures they have put in place to improve campus safety. And the law was named after a 19-year-old Lehigh student who was raped and murdered in her campus residence hall in 1986. If you want to know more about it, you can go to videos. Those of you who were here before class know that I was looking at some of the videos that were related to this, and the one I was playing before class comes from this particular website, just under 1 minute.
Welcome to Knowledge City's course, Clary Act Compliance. The Jean Clary Disclosure of Campus Security Policy and Campus Crime Statistics Act, also known as the Clary Act, is a federal law for colleges and universities to maintain and disclose crime statistics and security information. The goal of the Act is to keep students, employees, and the public aware of the crime on and around campus and help community members keep themselves safe. This course is designed to teach you which institutions are required to comply with the Clary Act and how these institutions can remain compliant.
Now, there's more on the Clary Act, campus security, violations, requirements, crime logs. Sometimes they're called incident reports. But if you're working for a campus newspaper, you can most often go to the University Police Department website, or there will be some type of press releases that are going to be available. This describes more about the Clary Act, all different kinds of statistics, including photos of her. University police departments, including Southern Arkansas University, have to make all of this data available. The annual report requires the distribution of an annual security report to all current faculty, staff, students, and notice of its availability to prospective students, faculty, and staff. As you can see, crime statistics have to be reported to the federal government by the end of September every year. It just so happens that the Southern Arkansas University crime statistics chart for 2021 is already available. It is a 72-page PDF. All institutions have to make this available. And if we just scroll through some of the documents, what types of crime were taking place on the SAU campus in 2020. As you can see, aggravated assault, burglary, motor vehicle theft, and arson. There were some incidents of burglary in 2018, 2019, 2020. You can scroll through this at your leisure to see liquor law violations in 2020. We can take a look at incidents of domestic violence in 2019, 2018, dating violence, stalking, disclosure of crime statistics. So you get the idea. All institutions, including UPD at SAU, are going to make this data available. But what about your upcoming assignment on Tuesday of next week? Local, state, national, or international? What types of crime might be taking place at those levels? Let's go back into a basic search. We're going to go back to the Jean Clary Act. For your upcoming project on campus crime, you can do it two ways. You can click on the news feed, find out about institutions, including Auburn University, George Washington University, James Madison University, the Daily Utah Chronicle, the Lumberjack, Most of these statistics, like Southern Arkansas University, have already been reported to the federal government. The Arkansas Traveler, Clary Report, you always have to be careful when you're doing these types of searches because you may have to go through some type of paywall. But let's just say you wanted to do this. Campus crime or campus crime statistics. I always go to the news feed because at this time of month, different types of stories are going to be available. For instance, let's just start up on top. UMPD, University of Maryland Police Department. The 2021 Annual Security Report and Annual Fire Safety Report are now available. Notice how this follows a format which is very similar to Southern Arkansas University. Eventually, you're going to get into specifics on what took place on the University of Maryland campus over the past year. Some of the same websites, some of the same news stories are coming up in a campus crime statistics search as a Jean Clary Act search. The Arkansas Traveler is coming up. Aggravated assaults, vehicle thefts, domestic violence incidents rose in 2020. This is data from the University of Arkansas. More motor vehicle thefts, more drug law disciplinary action referrals, more domestic violence offenses, one aggravated assault. Now that is taking place on the Fayetteville campus, and there is the text underneath. Something similar to what you would do for editing and rewriting purposes. Now let's just go straight down the line here. The Poly Post, Cal Poly Pomona, that's in the Los Angeles area. On-campus Clary Act criminal offenses. Notice all of the date lines are relatively recent. This one is today. Here's the lead sentence, quote, Cal Poly Pomona released its annual security report on September 15, sharing statistics on crimes committed on campus the last year before the university's shift to virtual instruction. There still are going to be incidents of crime with virtual instruction because, as you're well aware, you spent the last year, most of you, on campus. On campus, Clary Act criminal offenses 2018, 2019, 2020. There were fewer instances on this campus in terms of motor vehicle theft, burglary, aggravated assault, robbery, fondling, and rape from 2019 to 2020. So what you're going to be looking at in your particular stories are the different types of incident reports that were taking place on campus. And you don't have to do it with Southern Arkansas University. That's why it is local, state, national, or international. GW Today, more than likely, that's George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Report serves as a guide to safety resources available. This is a news story, Dateline yesterday. The crime log is available online. And by the way, that's not unusual. All crime logs should be available online. I clicked on it, nothing happened. Let me try the website. Maybe it's just a little slow. Notice that Southern Arkansas University is not that dissimilar to other institutions across the country. GW Alert is a university notification system. All of this came about in the wake of the Virginia Tech shootings. So if anything's taking place on campus, you should get some type of website or text message. Let me try online again and see if it's just a slow link. I'm not getting anything from that link. Let's go back into a search. Purdue University alert test, the Cougar Chronicle. The Cougar Chronicle is Cal State San Marcos. Most of us in this area would think the University of Houston Cougars. Cal State San Marcos, decrease in reported crimes on campus, similar to Cal Poly Pomona because of virtual instruction. That's not unusual. Notice all of these date lines, the 27th to 28th. Drug law arrests on campus increased in 2020. The annual report contains statistics from 2018, 2019, and 2020. The Southern Arkansas University PDF that we looked at was very similar. Marquette University is in Milwaukee. And that is a news story from the university, but it doesn't necessarily specifically link to the Clary Act. Temple University is in Philadelphia. Many of these are coming from student publications. The Crime Dashboard, 26 reports of crime. So in this case, it is reporting crime in the same way that Southern Arkansas University would have incident reports for anything that's taking place, any different issue that's going on, whether it be someone's broken into a car, there's some kind of domestic disturbance. Everything is usually going to be listed on the blackboard. Types of criminal reports campus safety at Temple received in the past 30 days. Harassment, theft, criminal mischief, underage consumption, bike theft, all the way down to burglary. Now keep in mind, this is a much larger campus, so you're going to have 144 reports of crimes over that time period. Back to the search, and let's go one more page. Let's go campus crime. See if anything has been updated in the news feed. That's University of Arkansas. Like I said, I like to go into the news feed, but if there's anything here related to the Clary report that you think would be appropriate, that's okay. Notice, over the past few days, parents demand action as crime continues near Ohio State. Parents of Ohio State students put up billboards near campus. Let's take a look at this extended report on Fox.
Other internet providers not flexible enough? Well, things have changed. Suddenlink introduces optimum flexibility. Choose your internet.
Parents of Ohio State students are voicing their concerns about crime in and around the campus in a big way. The group Buckeyes for a Safe Ohio State putting up billboards near the university. There's one, you can see it. College should not be a crime scene. Here's another one. One is one too many. One panel shows a picture of 23-year-old Chase Miola, who was shot and killed during an off-campus party last October. Joining me now are some of the parents behind the campaign, Irene Hendrick, Allison Reed, and Joe Varnish. Thank y'all all for being with us.
Thank you,
Ainsley. So Irene, I'll start with you because I read that you're not sleeping at night until your son is home. So this is affecting you in a major way.
That's correct. My son's a sophomore and he was at school for about maybe 6 or 8 weeks. When I read the story that Chase was killed, I really was never prepared to read a story like that. I sent my son to college preparing him, not to drink too much and make good decisions. And when I read that story, Chase lives close to where we grew up, and kind of changed my whole perception of what college should be. And you can't go to sleep until you know your kid is home safe at night because you can't really open the door and check on him. So it's changed the way we do everything.
I know that you were thinking about pulling him out, but instead you decided to be proactive and to do something about this. Joe, what are y'all doing?
So Buckeyes for a Safe Ohio State really just has the one common goal, which is to press the university administration to provide a safe environment for our students. You leave your child at university with the expectation of a wonderful education, with the hope of a great social life, but you do not anticipate the threat of violent crime being part of their day-to-day experience.
Yeah, Allison, how are the students feeling? Because I understand the neighborhood got 6 neighborhood safety notices sent out in August and then 2 so far in September. What do those notices say and how are the students feeling?
So the students are terrified. They're so scared. We opened our Instagram page, I believe, almost 2 weeks ago, and I get DMs every day. Thank you so much for taking this on and for giving this a bigger voice. We are so scared every night. The notices go out, and basically this week we got 2. One, I believe, was Friday morning. alerting us of a drive-by shooting. One was Sunday morning. 3 students were walking and they were mugged they were held up by gun, and these kids are just so scared.
Well, the university did give us this statement. They said the Ohio State University will invest an additional $2 million per year over the next decade to enhance safety and security on and around campus. The total investment is expected to be at least $20 million since the tragic shooting death of Ohio State student Chase Miola last year. The university has invested more than $1 million in safety measures. Irene, is that enough for you?
Not even close. The university invested $2 million a week when we were all hit with COVID just for testing. The university pays their football coach, it's public information, about $6 million a year. I think $2 million doesn't even scratch the surface of what needs to be done to really provide us and their 60,000 students a real feeling of safety. So as much as we do appreciate that the university has made a step forward, $2 million a year will not even begin to make the students feel safe.
Well, I know you're in touch with Chase's family and his mom, and our hearts go out to that family, but I'm sure they're so grateful that you ladies are stepping in to hopefully prevent this from happening to another family. Everyone at home, please say prayers for their 3 sons who are students there, surrounded in prayer and protection. And I wish you all the best. God bless you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for covering our story.
You're welcome.
That is from Fox. Whenever you're doing any kind of a search, you're probably spontaneous like me. I'm looking at all of these for the first time, as many of you are, and you might find something similar to that you could use as the jumping off point for a story, find out additional information about what's taking place at Ohio State. In fact, when we go back and look at a couple of stories from past years, Ohio State is the focus of at least 2 of those from a pre-2021 course. So with that in mind, now let's go back to what we were just watching. Into any type of a search into the news feed. It's already been updated. I'm doing it now from the standpoint of campus crime. For your search for assignment 6 due 1 week from today, you can go, as we've done so far, Jean Clary Act, campus crime statistics, or campus crime. When you do it from that perspective, it's a little bit different. Let's just start up on top. Campus crime log. This is the University of Cincinnati. And here's the campus log for the past week. 16 incidents. That's why I always say incident reports. Here's the daily crime log, which is opening in the same window. Now this goes back to late August. Let's revert to early September. If you go to the Columbia County, I believe it's Sheriff's Office website, you see all of these items on the screen in a similar way, but it is finding out where registered sex offenders live in Columbia County. That's different. That is a public record, but it is set up in basically the same geographical fashion. So here's the campus crime log. Liquor law violations, a shooting near campus. Notice they were also talking about that type of thing happening near the Ohio State campus. A bike theft, another theft, criminal damage. The disposition is active, meaning it's still going on. You had a sexual imposition. No criminal complaint was filed. Stop and Go, obviously a convenience store franchise in Cincinnati. Criminal mischief, criminal damaging, motor vehicle theft, disorderly conduct, motor vehicle theft, liquor law violations. Something like this, if you wanted to redo something like this as a story, that would be appropriate as well. Criminal damaging, sexual assault. WJBC is in Central Illinois. Illinois State University Police issue campus crime advisory for shots fired. Its website froze for just a moment. Anyone with information is asked to contact Normal Police. Now keep in mind, whenever we're looking at this, the Voice of Central Illinois, this is a radio station in Central Illinois. Illinois State University serves the Bloomington Normal community. Lead sentence: Normal Police are probing a shots fired incident that happened Monday night about 3 miles from the Illinois State University campus. Authorities say no injuries were reported and the incident remains under investigation. And then there are more. No evidence of alleged abductions. Cell phone data in missing student case. A radio station in Central Illinois. So we've looked at the University of Cincinnati, Illinois State University, University of Maryland, Ohio State, I'm guessing, but don't quote me, that could be Oklahoma State. Let's check. There are a lot of OSUs in the United States. Okay, this is Ohio State. A personal safety alarm.
Colleague, as we connect you with people, organizations, and charities making a difference.
So this is a second Ohio State story. The date line is today. Remember, we had the Fox story about parents thinking the campus can be a dangerous place. Let's skip the ad and look at the safety alarm at Ohio State.
Ohio State has issued a neighborhood safety notice after 3 students were robbed at gunpoint near campus over the weekend. The victims say they were walking on Indianola Avenue near Woodruff Avenue around 3:15 Sunday morning when a black Honda Accord stopped next to them. 2 men showed guns and demanded the victim's property, then drove off. No one was injured in the incident, but just one day after it, the Ohio State University is now providing students with a new tool to keep them safe. NBC4's Dan Perlman joins us live now to show us how these devices work. Dan?
Well, Jennifer, this right here is a personal safety alarm. Officials let me borrow this one to show you how it works. You can clip it to your keys like I have them, or you can clip it to your backpack. And when you pull, you get that. Now, these alarms can be heard up to 225 feet away. In order to get one at no cost, students need to register online and then pick theirs up at the off-campus and commuter student engagement office in the Ohio Union. Students began picking theirs up today. The day after, as you mentioned, the university told us 3 students were robbed at gunpoint near Indianola and Woodruff. One student told me how the crimes we've seen off campus over the last couple of months prompted her to get her alarm.
I have been here for a while now, and it's never been quite this bad, and it's just kind of started to get a little worse over the time period of the past couple months, actually, that I just feel a little more comfortable having something else to possibly keep me safe.
Now, officials say the university paid for the alarms so students can receive them at no cost to them. Local for you in Columbus, Dan Perlman, NBC4.
So that is a story that to a certain degree ties in what we saw on Fox. An Ohio State University student says she feels uncomfortable because of some of the recent incidents on campus that we did see in the Fox report. Man shot to death, 4,000 alarms being given out. That's a different story. Students at Ohio State are now able to receive a personal safety alarm at no cost to them. As you scroll through all of these items, now keep in mind, all you need to do is to take any type of print, online, or broadcast story and rewrite it. And I'm trying to give you as many options as possible. But always remember to cite your source. Let me know someplace either within or at the bottom, the original source that you went to for the story. There, that is tying into what we discussed. You can see the gentleman on the far side voicing concern over campus crime, one of the links that we could have gone to before actually linking to the Fox story. Off-campus crime decreases 39%. We'll wait for the story to pop up on the screen, and that is the Lantern. Again, this is more about Ohio State. The email comes 3 days after an Ohio State parent was shot in the leg after the football game Saturday. And this dateline is September 14th. So Ohio State's really having some major issues with campus security. Let's go to the second page of the news feed on campus crime. University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, 9 hours ago. So this is going on currently. This is from greenbay.com. Update, Green Bay police asking for public's help in identifying victim of suspicious death. Quote, now this is the lead sentence. Think about how you would take this and rewrite it. The Green Bay Police Department has not identified the victim, who was found dead at the Arboretum entrance at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay's campus, and is asking for the public's help. According to the Green Bay Police Department, the preliminary description of the victim is male, 20 to 30 years of age, short dark hair with a trimmed beard, medium build, and approximately 6 feet tall. Now, this is important for you guys if you're working on a deadline. Look at the date line on this. September 28th, 1:54 p.m. Now, as we're recording live, that is 1 hour and 1 minute ago. So this story is ongoing in Green Bay with a suspicious death on the University of Wisconsin Green Bay campus. We don't know about the victim. It's something that they're still finding out about. Here is video related to it from earlier today.
Have new money goals this year?
So we will vamp for time because these commercials, you can't usually skip through them. You have to go through them all. But notice how this story has been updated since this morning. Look at the lead earlier this morning. Quote, the Green Bay Police Department says it is investigating a suspicious death on the Coffram Arboretum Trail. So we'll wait for this ad to end, and then we'll see video from earlier today. Again, on a college campus.
Are following a developing story in Green Bay where investigators are gathering clues at a crime scene near the campus of UW Green Bay. University police were called to Sussex Road near the Coffram Arboretum Trail around 12:30 this morning for a report of a fire. Officers found a body and immediately closed off the area and called the death suspicious. Eric Richards is following this case and joins us live with the latest information. Eric, what else do we know so far?
Yeah, Shelley, I just talked to Captain Ben Allen of the Green Bay Police Department. He says that one of the things that they are looking into at this time is whether or not this victim in this case was recently reported missing. Detectives are also looking at surveillance cameras in the area, home surveillance cameras in the area, to see if there's a vehicle involved in this crime. The area the body was located is off a trail, as you said, but there are residential properties on the other side of it. Police are working to identify the victim, but say that this appears to be an isolated incident.
We think it was an isolated incident. Typically, that's the nature of these situations that have been found.
Now, investigators have already left the scene here. Green Bay police have turned this scene now over to the campus police, who are continuing to look for clues as to what exactly happened here. We will have much more on this coming up today at 4 o'clock. And of course, if you have any information, you're asked to contact Green Bay Police. Live here in Green Bay, Eric Richards, Local 5 News.
So that's the story earlier today. That's the update. Again, with the element of campus crime. Now think about what we've looked at the local, the state, the national level. We have not looked at international campus crime, but if we wanted to, if you wanted to take a look at any type of international campus crime or international campus crime statistics, all you have to do is a basic search and see whether or not there would be something in the news feed from across the country. I see something from the Hindustan Times. Now, I don't know whether or not this would tie into campus crime in India. It's under the headline of Delhi's most notorious criminal landlords. But I would look through stories like these and see whether or not there was something taking place on campus. It turns out there is a university connection, but apparently about the individual who is going to college. So just go back into a search, and you might do it differently. It might be something along the lines of and you might find it in the news feed, but if you don't, that's okay. If you don't see anything, or if it still comes up with university news, that's okay. I'm seeing a story from the University of the West Indies, and I am seeing something. I don't know whether this is. All right, this looks like a story from Canada, so this would be international. Conestoga College mourns death of student killed in Kitchener. Now, if my college geography is correct, Kitchener is in Ontario, and of course, Toronto is in Ontario. So let's check. And PEI is Prince Edward Island. So let's take a look at an international campus crime story. Waterloo Regional Police say they are releasing a photo of Joshua Bennett in consultation with the family to assist in the investigation. Lead sentence from a Canadian publication, quote, Conestoga College says an 18-year-old who was killed in Kitchener last week was a student in its carpentry program. Waterloo Regional Police say a homicide investigation is underway after 18-year-old Joshua Bennett was found dead on a trail near Paulander Drive at around 4 a.m. on Friday. He began his studies in fall of 2020. There is a counseling service available. A senseless death has no place in our community, but there's also a link here. Dateline September 24th. Police investigating homicide on trail near Paulander Drive in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Police say someone found the body on the trail and called police at around 4 a.m. Now let's go back to the original story. This is the student who died. There's the lead. And here is more about Conestoga College if you wanted to know about it. That is actually, by the way, that's a link. These are links opening in different windows. So I'll leave it right here. That is from a website called Global News. Occasionally, as you're well aware, most of these links will open in the same window, but I always double check to make sure, because I get ahead of myself a little bit. Now I'm checking to make sure that you see on the video what I was discussing. This is the story. Conestoga College mourns death of student killed in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. That's the student. This is the story that I was referring to, including a link for the original story about the body being found. Police have released few details about his death, but a post-mortem is underway. It's possible that while I was reading the story, I did not actually click onto this, so I wanted to show you the story, the victim, and it comes from Global News in Canada. And that was crime on college campuses globally. I always try to give you as much research as possible for all of the projects, but think about what we've done so far with campus crime. Local, state, national, international. It's your responsibility to look at any of those particular stories and do a rewrite. Well, with that in mind, what did most recently your cohorts do from 2020 and previous course years? This is Carly Hale. Many of you know that Carly has been recognized as a finalist for an NCAA award, one of 30 student athlete finalists. She was in this class last year. This is Carly's example of campus crime. Lead sentence, quote, in 2019, officials from 3 universities faced the harsh aftermath of sexual abuse allegations against campus physicians, with a link. There are also links to Michigan State, Ohio State, and the University of Southern California. Colleges that receive federal funding are required to release a compilation of crime statistics each October 1st. She's got links to Ohio State, Michigan State, and USC as part of her story. And when you're writing within the blog itself, it's easier to insert those links. Lead sentence 1, 2, 3, 4 different bits of interactivity. Next paragraph, quote, colleges that receive federal funding are required to release a compilation of crime statistics each October 1. This is known as the Clary Act. The dates of crimes are determined by when the crime is reported, not when it's occurred. For Ohio State, the Clary report had almost 1,000 instances of fondling, and in 2018, 30 instances of rape were reported. Now keep in mind, as you saw initially from the Southern Arkansas University PDF and from others, crimes are being reported on a rolling 3-year basis. Rape allegations, sexual abuse allegations at Ohio State, at Michigan State, and also at Southern California. Now, what is the thread that ties these together? Sexual abuse allegations against people. And what has been done by Carly is to weave all of these reports together into one story. The Ohio State, Michigan State, and USC data has all been placed into one story. For instance, lead sentence in the final paragraph, quote, Southern California also experienced a high increase in crime reports. Second sentence with a link, quote, in fact, the university saw a 200% increase in rapes and fondling reported in 2018. Now that was Carly's story, campus crime, from last year. But now let's go back 2 years. What types of issues 2 years ago were being reported? Many of you know Christy Glass. She is a plant science major, planning on doing that in graduate school as well, but has taken a number of mass comm and mass media courses. She is an excellent interactive writer. This is what Christy did 2 years ago. She's got all of her stories from 1 to 20 and the final on the far left-hand side. So it's easy to find all of her different projects. Very user-friendly. Here's what she's doing for campus crime. University of Arkansas. Lead sentence, quote, when students start looking for colleges, they want to know how safe their chosen college is. The Jean Clary Act requires colleges to release their crime statistics by October 1 of each year. Now, I'm always saying by the end of September, but it's basically the same difference. They're usually all, as you saw, I believe the Southern Arkansas University material was posted on September 27th, yesterday, as we record this. Then she's taking screen grabs and incorporating them into her story. Now, I'm leery of doing all of these because usually with this format, it will reset from the beginning. And there it is, back up on the screen. So she's got all of these screenshots, and make sure that you see what I see, and it's the same. I always need to double check, and I needed to do that more earlier with the Canadian story. The University of Arkansas Fayetteville, number 9 on the 2020 safest college campuses in Arkansas list. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. Look at this story at the outset. Screenshots. She's weaving her text around the interactivity, whether it's the graphics, whether it's the links, including the Campus Crime Statistics Report. Quote, the Jean Clary Act has the campus crimes broken down into 4 major sections: criminal offenses, hate crimes, VAWA offenses, and arrests and referrals for disciplinary action. Overall crime by category, screen grab. More information on all of this data as we transition down into quote, the University of Arkansas sent a survey to the students that contained questions about sexual assault. Next, the UAPD also releases, with a link, a daily crime log for the college, and previously the Arkansas Online statistic for how many individuals were answering the survey. Here is the daily crime log, screenshot, October 2019, arrest on warrant, possession of a controlled substance, marijuana. Perfect example of what a campus crime might consist of, among others. Then at the bottom, she's got the source for the graphic, final paragraph, in full, quote, the UAPD provides programs and detailed safety information in their crime report to let students know what they do in order to keep the campus safe. Releasing the daily crime logs, the Jean Clary Act starting from 2010, and the fire logs, remember, fire report logs on campus, is another part of their job to keep the campus safe. Now take a look at how Christy has done this from bottom to top. She does a very nice job of interweaving her graphics, her interactivity, got some subheadlines, which are in boldface. It gives you the opportunity on the blog to really create your own digital profile, your own digital imprint, so to speak. So we've looked at 2020 with Carly Hale, 2019 with Christy Glass. Now 2018, this is Suzanne Lanou, and we return to Ohio State University. September 29, 2018, Ohio State University reported an increase in campus burglaries, aggravated assault, and sexual assaults, all with a link in its annual crime report. And here, the links are in brown. As you saw with Christy, the links are basically in a bluish green color. It talks about the number of rapes reported in 2016 and 2017, a rolling basis, 2016, 2017, and 2018, when Suzanne took the class. Quote, however, the university believes that there really was no increase in rapes. The victims are coming forward and reporting more assaults because of increased awareness and understanding of sexual assault and domestic violence. Now, what all of you need to do is to look at the word structure for the paragraphs and how you might rewrite copy from the original, because writing and reporting for the mass media is important, but editing is equally as important as the two full names of this course, writing and reporting. There was a 157% increase in the number of campus burglaries over 2016 and 2017. The Interim Ohio State Police Chief says there are over 10,000 people on campus at any given time, basically about the size of Magnolia, making the campus a city of its own. He maintains that the police are constantly patrolling and talking to students to make it a safer campus, and there's a video link. Does it still work?
People with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension. But no, by all means, go ahead. Skip
State says safety is a top priority at the university.
Now keep in mind, we'll play this report. This is Ohio State 3 years ago. We've already seen two reports, one from Fox and one from a local Columbus affiliate, on the challenges that they're facing today. What are they doing in 2018? There's the date line, September 24, 2018.
State says safety is a top priority at the university, so they're adding another tool to their resources belt through a mobile app. NBC4's Elise and Gary went to campus today to see how it works.
The whole point of this app is to help protect students, faculty, and staff with getting even faster safety notices and alerts. And get this, once it's downloaded, you can even pick friends or family as a virtual guardian to follow you via GPS tracking as you travel around campus.
So the Reppert Guardian app is kind of like a mobile blue light. Walking around campus, you can see these blue lights scattered around, but now you have one in your pocket.
Shamina Merchant, a student at OSU, downloaded the app on her cell phone, along with 1,500 other students so far.
I've actually gotten to use it even last night with my mom walking home, and it just adds an extra layer of feeling safe.
Merchant tells me it's easy to use, so I have her show me.
Reppert Guardian app. And I can set a safety timer while walking home, and then I just add a guardian to watch me on my walk home. So I always like to use my mom, and then when I start the timer, it then notifies my mom, and it will tell me if somebody is watching my session. And then when I want to disable the timer, I just have to click deactivate, and it will let anyone who's watching my session know that I've reached home safely.
You pick your guardian through your phone contacts. They do not need to have the app. The messages come to them through text. University spokesperson Dan Hedman says the app has been in the works since the summer, and it was launched this month. But keep in mind,
this app does not replace your own instincts, so continue to be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, report it to law enforcement. It's just one more tool in the toolbox for students to enhance safety.
The app is available right now to download for all students, faculty, and staff who are signed up for Buckeye Alerts. You just search Reppert Guardian inside the Ohio State app. Local for you on campus, Elise Chingari, NBC4.
So whenever we're looking at any of these news stories, especially those now that we're back on her blog that go back 3 years, there are some commonalities on common ideas for college campuses. You'll see it at SAU, you'll see it in other places, different kinds of apps to make students safe. Now, what did she have here in this story? She's got 1, 2, explaining who Jean Clary is and the reason behind the act. 3, a screenshot similar to what we saw with Christy Glass. 4, different graphics that are related to campus crime. So when you come back to class on Tuesday, what I'll have the opportunity to do after fall break is to see how well you have incorporated these suggestions including something I'll probably send out later this week or even later today as any type of a tweet, possibly the Fox story at Ohio State University, dated to 2021. But before we go any further, as we get ready to leave toward ideally a safe fall break, where do we stand with our blogs? This is not a complete list of all the people in course, but I want to show you what some of your classmates' blogs look like as we head into the month of October. This is Carlin's website. When you click on the link available at the website, here's what you see for all of her projects. As we move on closer to 20, at the bottom it will say older posts. But that's what hers looks like right now. Next, in roughly reverse alphabetical order, is Joanna. And she is currently updating hers. News leads with story links. And it looks like she's having an issue with the typeface on a headline, so you'll probably want to make that obviously a little bit smaller. But she put in a lot of work, including different types of interactive links. We'll take this and bring it back up to the top. She has material that's also related to sports, the United Nations. This is where you'll have to go in and clean up the headline because that is in huge font style. But I do like the fact that you've included a couple of different video links. All of these, as we move through the fall semester, are going to be works in progress. So there are a couple of things among all of these that we would tweak, or I would give you the opportunity to tweak. Lauren is next. Not really doing a deep dive into what you're working on or what you have worked on, but just let everyone see the progress of your stylistic approach, because they're all going to be edited, played around with during the term. I like the greenish farm-based motif or countryside. The next website that we're going to be looking at is Alexis. You'll recall during our last class session, she was talking about the hometown feature story, which is her link to the assisted living celebration. And in her case, you click on the arrow to go back to her homepage with the weathered notepaper motif. And I like that. But that's how hers appears at this point in the term. And as you can see, quote, "I am excited for this class to aid me in my future in public health." And health communication is a very important field, or understanding social media and health communication is something that's going to be a big help to her as she transitions beyond graduation into her professional career. Courtney's website is going to be next. And Courtney, I think what I would do with yours is to probably change the background so what we see with the ticker tape effect is not going to be on the screen. My guess is if you play around with different formats, what we see with some of the information that you're bringing in from other sources is not going to be readily seen. But this is what hers looks like from top to bottom in this particular style. And if you examine someone such as Suzanne Lanoux, for example, this is what hers looks like when you scroll from bottom to top. You literally see everything. It's not the read more, which is fine. The next one I'm going to show you is Seth. And a reminder, Seth, I said during the last class session, I wanted you to change this because feature news is not a shooting. So please make sure that you change this story at some point in the future. Here's what his looks like from top to bottom, and it should be feature, not featured. How I view news, number 1, all the way up until feature. I had indicated that a couple of you have already started to work on campus crime. And in fact, 2 of you have the same story. This is Taylor. Here's a link to the story that we'll get to next week. We were talking about this particular story earlier today as a news item for the second media quiz. The allegations of whiskey, but we'll leave that until next week. Just wanted to let you see what Taylor has. Trey has updated his website, and I'll show you what his looks like. Sometimes you'll give me a placeholder URL at the beginning of the semester and eventually go to another format. This is what Trey's website for the news reporting and writing course looks like. Breaking news, defining news, still catching up. Many of you have to work to get through school, and Trey is no exception. He works the night shift, so he is catching up. We'll take a look at a lot of these in depth once we return from fall break. I am updating Morgan's website to see if it is refreshed, and this is what hers looks like. Library book sale, city redistricting, doing all kinds of experimentation. You'll recall that for an earlier assignment with the breaking news update, that was prominently featured at the top of her blog. But as we move on during the term, it is going to be pushed down. Really experiment with your creativity. The next website after Morgan is going to be Chris. And like Trey, he is still catching up. That's what his looks like right now. This is what Haley's news blog looks like. The newspaper clippings and her story mimics that of Taylor with the addition of a video clip. This is actually a place Haley, we're having that format similar to what you see with Courtney of the dropping and dragging with the effect that you see on the screen of the old style paper shredder or a ticker tape actually works. But that's what it looks like when we click on the story. Here's what you see when you scroll down through everything that Haley has done. And I strongly encourage you to look at these on your phones for aesthetic purposes. Is it easily readable both on your phone and your computer? We move from Haley to Kaylee. And I will refresh hers in real time to see whether or not anything changes. There's her hometown feature news. Now we'll take a look at all of these at the beginning of class on Tuesday before we get into campus crime. We'll see whether or not any of these have been updated. That's what she's got for her feature story. And I think we looked at this in a previous class. These visuals look very, very familiar. And with hers, we have to left click back to get into the story. But the snapshot gives you so many different varieties. It's very pleasing aesthetically if that's what you want to look at. This is Gwen. Of course, that's Central Baptist Church. This is what hers looks like so far. By the time we get to assignment 20 and all of the work that you've done, these get to be, if you continually edit and continually work on your writing and interactivity, usually by the end of the semester, these can be really, really impressive. I have two more to show you. One is Jonathan, and he is also catching up. And please make sure you work on these during the break. He's on 3. Probably want to work on the blue text on 1 and 2 because that's really hard to read, but we'll talk about that next week. And I will refresh Finley's website, which I'll put up on the screen. And she's in the process of catching up as well. And I'll leave it there because she's got a ton of different projects or a ton of different visuals that's related to the breaking news updates. So before we officially conclude the proceedings for the day, let's return to Google Drive. With the reminder, if you ever want to check on your classmates' progress, not only can you watch the videos of this class, click on the links, see whether or not they're doing something, whether it's for their formatting, their writing, their lead sentences, their interactivity that you think is particularly creative. Then, of course, the other part is right here for the 20 assignments. During the month of October, as I indicated earlier, we'll probably at a minimum be through assignment 12, which is numeracy. There will also be an occasion where 2 different assignments may be due at once, such as trending on social media, number 14, entertainment or popular culture, 15. Once we get to the beginning of December, right before final exam week, we will have all 20 projects completed, including the wild card, by the time we get into finals week and you're thinking about what you want to put together for the visual journalism project. The blog is worth 200 points. The final project is worth 50 points, and then class participation is worth 50 for a total of 300. When we return on Tuesday of next week, of course, it will be early October, the first of 8 consecutive class sessions in the month of October, where most of the time a project is going to be due. Campus crime will be completed by this time next week. Those of you who are behind, you need to make sure that you get caught up ASAP, because that is a factor in how I grade the blogs, and that 200 points is 2/3 of the class, because timeliness matters. And if you're always catching up and always catching up, I will grade it. But it's really important that you understand the element of timeliness in a course like this. Looking at your classmates' blogs and trying to figure out from a writing stylistic perspective a very clean structure, how you can write a quality lead, how you can do it in such a way that all of the facts are available for your audience to discern. Watching these videos, similar to today, I think is going to help you try to construct a quality campus crime story, whether it be local, state, national, or international. We will continue on Tuesday of next week looking at assignment 6 out of 20, campus crime. Enjoy the break. As for MM2003, reporting and writing for the mass media, follow me on Twitter during the break. There may be something related to upcoming projects there as well. That concludes the recording session for today.